the downtown area, and we're participating here with the History Center. So many of you know our speaker, Maureen Winkelman, who is on the board here of the History Center of Aransas County, and also very active with South Rockport neighbors, many of whom are also in our audience. So without further ado, we'll let Maureen start on.
First of all, I'm very disorganized, so things have been coming and going, and just kind of bear with me. But I want to start with this little guy. It was my friends Penny and Taylor King just moved to Costa Rica, and a lot of their stuff was in the hurricane. They pulled up this box. Taylor's 73, he got this when he was 3. So he said, "Oh, that's horrible." He took me and went to throw in the trash can. And I said, "Oh my God, that's just push." So, I mean, that's where my mentality is with Christmas ornaments. The stranger, the veteran. I'm going to start out with the oldest ones I have, and Diana Solis is going to have a heart attack.
Yeah, I am.
Because I bought them years and years ago, and I started selling them. Remember Diana? So she bought a bunch from me, and then she left in the back of her car and lost them. So the first, these were, I think, probably the early 1900s. Wow. And they're all glad. Well, I'm not going to try and force them apart.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. That's
Oh, neat. Describe them for us, Maureen.
well, they're little glass beads.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I can pass it around. Y'all don't drop them though.
Here, give it to me, I'll get it over for you.
Those are connected together. I'll send the small ones around, but you can see them. Oh, like that one, it's broke, didn't it?
Oh, it is.
So let's leave it alone. And then we have a little star,
Nice.
and this one. And I think these were even before penny brights that I'll be talking about. I think these probably came from Germany, but I can't tell you for sure. And the reason I brought these is to show, here's another one, this. But the reason mainly brought them is because of the spiders. And I can't pass that around. There's 2 of them. And the spiders, the story about the spiders is that it either started in the 1800s or the early 1900s. And I'm just going to read you, it's Eastern European, probably Ukraine, Russia, Poland, they're not really sure of it. A poor, hard-working widow was once lived in a small hut with her children. One summer day, a pine cone fell on the earthen floor of the hut and took root. The widow's children cared for the tree, excited at the prospect of having a Christmas tree by winter. The tree grew, but when Christmas Eve arrived, they could not afford to decorate it. The children sadly went to bed and fell asleep. Early the next morning, they woke up and saw the tree covered with cobwebs. When they opened the windows, the first rays of sunlight touched the webs and turned them into gold and silver. The widow and her children were overjoyed. From then on, they never had to live in poverty again. So that's the story of the spiders.
Very sweet.
And they, like I said, they said it could be Germany, Poland, Ukraine, or Russia. They're not sure.
Oh.
Maureen, some of those are Scandinavian.
You think? I mean, I really don't know. I just, when I bought them,
Believe it
why
or
I
not,
never sold them, I
there was a program on television, you know, that guy that if you win the lottery, he sells you a home.
Oh.
And anyhow, he was on 2-3 nights ago with his own house, and they were doing it all in
this kind of stuff.
in Swedish and things like that.
And
And
they
those
use the spiders?
ornaments were all over, not the spiders, the other ones.
Well, I
that
wish
look
I
like a
could
web
kept, I wish
without
I
a
kept the
spider.
rest of them, but I sold them for, I don't know why, but I did.
Maureen, what did you buy them at?
It was a garage sale. Were you with me, Jenny, when we bought them?
no. Yeah.
No, that's the highest. Okay, and before I forget, I was going to tell you about this. You know, most of the ornaments come from the collected ones, Japan, Germany, or whatever. But I found this when I was pulling out angels today, and it's a Balik, Irish Balik. And so I was in the Castaways the other day and couldn't find anything. And by George, I picked up this for 60 cents.
Oh,
It's
wow.
another Irish belief.
Cool.
See, you never know what you're gonna find at
No,
Custom.
that's true.
It's getting harder and harder.
Yes, it is, it is.
You don't know more about, especially these Christmas ornaments that were like $1 or $2, now they want $15, $20. Then I'll show you my postcards.
Thank you.
I put it on this tree to try to help. And I'll pass these around. You can, most of them have a penny stamp, so what year was that, 1910, 20?
For a long time, actually.
Anyway, I'll pass some of these around, y'all can look at them.
I think so. Anybody card?
And then when I used to go for the summers to Pennsylvania,
Oh,
it didn't break, it's okay. It's just cards. No four-letter word yet. I used to go to Pennsylvania, so I was at one place and they had these, they're called Pennsylvania Dutch cards. And I bought a whole box of them, they had them for every season. And this was like they were like the 1960s, and some of them even have recipes on the back.
oh, cool.
So I'll pass this around.
You know, Maureen, Pennsylvania Dutch is really Deutsch, so it's real German. It's the German. We anglicized it. Of course.
Well, some of the cards for the other seasons, or holidays, they would put the Dutch or whatever expressions on it, but those didn't really have expressions. And these are no big deal, but I've started kind of collecting these, the old
Stop.
stockings. Especially the ones with, how much work those have, and then they sell them for $1.
This was 22.
I love this one because I like kitty cats. And this one is nice, but boy, when you carry it somewhere, you end up sparkling.
He looks really old.
I don't know if he's old or just looks, and maybe he's, I liked him though, and
Yeah.
made him look old.
1908.
I like Santa Claus, she thinks Santa Claus. Next is my Santa Clauses.
Yay, Fatima.
And I love, my friend Jim called me one day and he said, I bought you a present at a garage sale. I was just ecstatic.
Oh.
Oh, man.
But he'd been kept in a box, shoebox, so he's in really good shape. Here's another one that's not quite as good shape, but I still like him. He's plastic. And this one's kind of like Elf on the Shelf.
Look at that.
Kind of Santa.
that.
This is the old candy came in that one. This is one of those German smokers. I don't understand how they work. The incense or where they know? What they do?
They used to have little cones, and it was pine balsam that you would put in, and then it would make your house smell like.
Well, he's called a smoker, but he wants to fall apart, so I pass it around, but watch the bottom.
Yeah, they got stamps.
And I'm not sure what this was used for. There's a little pouch here, I don't know exactly what.
Candy.
Candy also? Everything's candy. And then he's got a stick, so maybe you put him on a cake or something, I don't know. And that was just kind of a little cute one. I like, these are little pink ones.
Oh, cute. Pink Santa.
I've got, I God had to bring a trailer with me to lift it all up. Another Sandy. Y'all want to look at them. Especially the candy one.
That's all, because when I come back, I didn't look at it or nothing.
And here's a little old one, and it has,
I remember.
cleaners. Most of them came from Japan, most of the early ones were from Japan.
Hunchback. Very long toys.
This one, Smitty,
Wow. Yes, ma'am. With candy.
I'm gonna have my hot butter rum in this next month.
Okay. Alright.
Oh, coins, it's a bank. Very cool.
I don't know what to say about him.
No, yeah, she hasn't seen it. Oh, no, she hasn't seen it.
Maybe.
Probably out there.
You saw the Santas?
Should have a beach towel, this one, but he's skiing somewhere.
That's okay.
Did I already show you the pink, I think I showed you the pink one, didn't I?
Yes.
Wow.
It's a bank.
And one more, this one, I don't know, I don't think he ever had a body.
That's interesting.
He might have.
Oh, sorry.
When a body is bodiless. It's got a cute little face.
This one has a lot of.
Yes, yes it does.
There's, what's bad is his stuff gets so nasty sometimes, and when it gets older, it turns yellow and.
Find it.
Okay, so now we put this in.
Oh, yes.
That's interesting.
Oh, cool.
That one, and that's,
You can drink every
and
cup of cold.
everything was half off in that dish, all Christmas, so I got about three.
This poor little guy, he's in bad shape.
And I didn't know that's how
Still-
still, I just liked them.
If you don't do that climate control, they
They're
get.
neat on, you know, displays.
Have you seen it?
Of course, you can buy these now. Oh, yeah. But I still think
He's,
it's
it is, yes. Jolly old guy. I can tell you notes the best.
Here are my little paper ones. That's not really Santa, but it's.
I have one that's, it's just a Santa.
And here we have it with his sled,
Air conditioning.
his little presents.
Oh, I have one of those at one point.
The problem with this is, they break off, you know,
That looks.
And
so I've got a bunch of
I have this overall
That
stuff
looks
that
really
was
good.
made for candy, and I just put it on and it looks like things.
This looks like a little handmade one.
Looks like he's had too much of that hot butter.
Yeah.
Right?
And then I really like, this one doesn't have pine cone, but I like the pine cone ones, and I think this is a little newer,
Yeah.
but
Neat.
these are kind of like my favorite here. They take the little Santas and make pine cones.
Oh,
Oh, yes.
That's what you could do with that big one.
Now, yeah. I have a big one over there that somebody, I got that at the cash
Sure
box.
enough.
Now, this poor guy, his pine cone is about had it. And they have them on all different little scenes and stuff with the pipe cleaners. This one's not a pipe, not a pine cone, but I really liked him.
They really have cute little faces.
I'll send these two around. These two are in good shape, so I'll send those around.
What they do have is very
Everything is
And of course, I collect little bells too, Santa bells. Okay, here are my favorite of all favorites. And one of these I found at the Castaways, and one of them my friend Jim gave me. And they're from West Germany. You can open them up and see the West Germany.
Oh, yeah.
You have to re-glitter this one, but
Oh, wow.
I paid $4 for this one. At that time, I thought, $4, that's a lot of money, but
you
I haven't looked it up, but I'm sure it's worth a lot more than $4 now.
This is for J18.
I forgot my coffee.
J18.
And this one I just love.
Is it a bobblehead?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Early bobblehead, huh?
1966.
Well, these are West Germany, so that'd be what, like right after the war? When was West Germany, from 50 to,
Probably 46.
okay.
Glitter on there. Where's Germany?
got this one right out of a big trouble.
No, I don't have a fun one.
You know, it's-
Look at how old these are. Their faces.
Man.
Now tell me, hot butter wrong.
Some got hot. I do.
How are you?
Good.
Maybe Western something.
This is my, I mean, I've done this since the 80s. It's my angel collection. You can see some of them here. Angel collection, I have tubs of them. But, and most of them are Japan. Of course, sometimes they're West Germany, sometimes they're Taiwan. But Taiwan, I noticed Taiwan is still pretty old. If you get decoration with Taiwan, something. This one's cute. Thing back then, I have a lot of them have no wings or one wing. I'm having to
That's
stop
cute.
that one. You can pass that one around. That's
That's cute.
God, that's a lot of work on the inside of those things. They're lined.
and these. I think these are so sweet.
Yeah.
I have 2 or 3 of those in here.
That's nice.
I should have taken better care of them. You get the end of season, you're gonna wrap them all nice, and then here comes, December 30th, and you're going, oh, I just want a clean house. You just throw it, I don't pack as well as I should. And then these are cute, the little paper angels. This one says 1965 on it.
Good shape.
You break it, you die. I broke it. It's kind of, we have sterling silver, I leave it up in the cabinet.
That's okay, that's all right.
And this is like with a whole band. Some of them have their color and some of them have kind of.
She looks like she's just waking up. Oh, yeah.
Yep, we still have.
Yeah, that's true, I didn't notice that. I did not notice that. Wow.
How many did you have in band?
That was 6, I think. Claire gave me those ones from here.
Oh.
She's just got a bouquet of flowers.
Have a lot of stress.
I'm from the
I've never seen these before. Have you seen
Oh,
this?
like when
Oh, yeah, yeah, okay.
This one's nice, pretty face, but it's still cute.
The bottom is cute.
You know how lead the piercing wings? The lead is piercing wings.
I
The
know.
ones that have-
Okay, I'm gonna start. I did bring a few, I don't think you like these,
18.
but I brought a few just to show you.
From Japan. The birds.
Yeah.
Read Japan.
Where the early birds,
I'm sorry. It's okay. It's all right.
these are so delicate, you touch them, they just break.
Tiny. I got deer hit
It's her sister. Oh, yeah.
Okay, then the porcelain ones, that's the ones I'm really, really crazy about. And I'm just gonna kind of lay them out, cause I don't. Sometimes I get them with the month, I don't care what month it is.
I could read Japan, which was small.
These I absolutely love.
Yes, I did, yes, I did. It's so cute.
These are so cute.
What?
Does it have brands on them?
Some of them, yeah, this one says,
Ribbon.
no, yeah, it's a little Japanese tag. The best ones to get, if you can get, are the,
Easy.
Oh, really?
I can't think of the word right now. Left, right, a lot of left. And left, sometimes you can find Russian ones.
That's a good group. Oh, did the freeze get it?
I think that was so cute.
Oh, the kill art?
Even got my pine tree.
This one's kind of, I like this one because they mix the porcelain with, I'll pass that around, she's not.
Probably one that was bought here out of Walmart or something. And it was pretty.
And I found this 3 years ago at a garage sale, I walked in, it was $5, and I just about had a heart attack.
But you bought it. What is it, let me see. Very cute.
other, my sister found these in Kansas last year, the little paper birds.
Doves.
Well, I don't know how he got it, he
Doves.
got mixed up, he's a Santa, but he got mixed up with the angels.
He's having a good time,
This one's old, I'll pass that around too, but I don't see where it says where it came from. Now those you can hardly find anymore because they tear so easily, it's almost impossible, you pay big bucks for those now. She's
Oh, they're cute.
And one of them I had, it was a December girl and December boy, you said, is this a December girl? It's an angel, but it was a boy, maybe it's this one. Yeah, they're a pair.
It's like those other ones that we seen.
And you got an angel minister or priest or.
she only paid a quarter of fees.
It's very sweet.
Okay, one more. Oh, also, there's a lot, we find a lot of the little, angel bells. Okay.
That's another violin lady.
I'll do that first of all. Yeah, let's get the Henley real quick. Let's get this.
That one has an accordion. Oh, no, she's older.
She breaks them, she whacks them, she bucks them.
I've glued several of the wings back on.
That's why I said.
That's okay. There's a couple of the Santa Clauses, I think you can see the big Santa Clauses in there.
Oh, in the
The
cave?
ceramic, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kay Betts gave us those for the History Center,
Mm.
so we use it every year.
Yeah, I like that display.
When she heard my dad, he said, because we hear crashing, little more.
Okay, I'm gonna read about the next one for you. They're called Anna Lee dolls. Are any of you familiar with those?
Yeah,
You are? You can still get them now. They're still being made.
you know what I got, Friday, it's a reindeer, but it was
Ah.
2006, yeah.
And you didn't call me?
I've never seen one, I mean.
Okay, the Anna Lee dolls, there's this couple, they lived on a chicken farm in New Hampshire. And she started playing one day with felt, and then she decided to make a little doll with it, and so she hand painted the face. And so at first they started out, they did it on their own, and they got a few employees, and they made the chicken house into a workroom, and then they hired other people. And they had 2 boys, so most of them figured they're doing something, they're dancing, they're throwing, you know, like little boys do. And in the 50s and 60s they were really popular, in the 70s also. And then they started to become really collectible in 1980, where people would go to the stores and kind of like the Beanie Babies and try and fight for them. And then she died in 2002, I believe, but she still, the company still makes them in New Hampshire, not China. So, we'll start with,
And do you have one or no?
don't even ask.
Okay.
Each time we see
Several. She had one, oh, look at that television.
and I can pass these around. And most of them still have the Emily tag, and they'll have a date on them.
Oh, neat.
Oh, and she did a lot of themed mice themed ones. And this one my niece just found for me, last month at a resale shop.
No, the church sale.
And we decided only mother could love this
That's
face.
the ugliest face I've ever saw. Ugly face. Now, who would the face have that on?
Right, here's one of the Christmas mice.
Oh, look at that.
And then I have a
Oh,
bunch of
yeah.
play mice. She does others besides Christmas. So she did, but I love this one. And Reba, you're gonna croak when you see one of them. This
They
one.
do say it looks like a orange paint.
Oh,
It's got slimy eyes.
Christmas cat.
That's cute.
face on them though.
Yeah, they're all hand painted.
The face is what's so gorgeous about it.
That's why you can like, ask Diane, if you see one, I put them far away on the shelf, you know immediately what it
Well, now
is.
I know,
You can
but
tell.
I've never paid
See her face,
attention before.
I tell us, I don't even see that face.
Oh, I'll be darned.
I love that one on the,
These two are basically the same, but they're kind of a different pose and their good bad lists are in kind of different spots.
I like this one.
Oh,
Yeah, no wonder she's saying about the face, look at them.
Got a nice hair. We have a Cassie when she was getting a fit. Her granddaughter. She was a little bitty and
Here's
she
another
was just
Christmas
similar
Oh.
fit.
Just over your face.
And they, you know,
There you go.
And then here's the stuff they have. See, some of you guys know what they want.
Now you do, now you know to look for them.
Yeah, exactly.
A sitting Santa.
I'm gonna check
And
it
here's
out.
another one for Reebok. Reebok had this at Casper's like 3 years ago.
I have never heard of it, but I know to look for them.
And they always leave tags.
Yeah, but they use the tags on
It's
it.
like Dr. Seuss.
Well, I know what to look for now, Maureen.
Yeah, because I see they always leave tags on. Sure it is.
I'll just leave it
Give her
here,
a dog
y'all
play
see
with.
that. And then, we got another month.
And see, but now they
Christmas
go,
month.
see, they make a lot of good ones.
They're not all tall like that.
But they can choose to, but that's what you're gonna choose it, but you can't break
Save you from long
Well, I lived up there for many years, 20 years, from 8 years old.
And I don't like that, you have to explain these.
My mom passed away.
Hey,
and
Maureen,
I
I'm
was
ready,
for
I'll stick with it, make sure it's can't be this and this little one.
Well, they don't want to sit, they're supposed to be sitting.
She's something.
I got
Stickers, but different.
Oh my God, their faces, how they're painted.
She's a cat and a monkey.
Oh, I got one in my church.
So there's your elves on the shelves.
Snowflakes.
And this is a newer one, but I bought him the other day. I thought he was kind of cute. And then I went to Castaways about 2 weeks ago, and I didn't buy him the first day because he was expensive. But I bought the new elf on the shelf, and
Oh,
he's
that's
really kind of
great.
scary, if you ask me.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm looking at these.
But, so
Her eyes
I
follow you around.
went back the next day to buy him,
No, I like it.
and I had him in my
That
basket.
may help.
And I started going down the aisle, and there's a woman, I mean, I left my card up here. This woman had this in the basket, and I all but killed her. I said, that is so rude to take stuff, don't you know the rules around here? And it's in the back. She said, ma'am, there were 2 of them. So she called her husband on the phone, and he was just laughing hysterically. So then as I was leaving, she said, it was $10, which I thought was high, but that's fine. And she said, I'll give you 20 for it.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, if I hadn't had this program come up, I would have taken it.
Oh, I think that's fabulous. What a great design.
There's a snap, crackle, and pop.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
I've got 6 of those, but they're all red, and they have that face, yeah. My
That's neat,
my
though.
grandparents.
We had, I ordered one time a bunch of stuff from
The
the
one that everybody
cable
knows
soup
about.
kids, you know, and all that at Christmas.
What?
Shiny bright balls.
Yeah, they snap, crackle,
The
and
man's name was
Snap.
Max Eckhart.
crackle.
He had ordered glass bulbs from Germany, and then he decided, well, there's probably a market for it here. So he started making them over here. About 1907, right before I don't know why, but he kind of had an inkling there was going to be a world war. So he brought them over here and started making them for the Corning Company.
So there's smaller ones, but these are.
Anyway, they're all different ages, and they kind of went out. They made other ones from America, but they didn't say shiny bright on it, but they just say USA. Anything that says USA, bulb, buy it. And so anyway, that kept going, and they had different kinds of hangers on it. And then when it went out of business, it was taken over by the
I've never seen them that
Radco.
small.
You've heard of them. So
Oh.
we're gonna start, and I was gonna show you, don't give up, if you see a box of ornaments, don't give up, because a lot of these are plastic, which they make good remakes. But in here, there are about 4 of them that say USA on there. So I always check, it may say, oh, it's just plastic, and then I noticed there are like 5 that were USA, so. And there they are, I'll send this around. These are not, shiny bright, but they are USA.
I don't think I can get in their shoes.
And some of these boxes of these can sell for up to $100,
Just then,
just one box.
but they also sell the empty boxes, Maureen.
They what?
Empty boxes
Oh,
sell.
no, that's what it probably is.
Maureen, I'll give you 25 for him.
I don't like that box.
Thank you.
He's good my mom.
Maureen and I were talking before the program began, and I saw that shiny bright, and I said, oh, I have a couple of those shiny bright boxes that I bought at Ben Franklin's in the 60s, and they have a price on the bottom, and it's like $1.29. And most of them are still intact.
Well,
I've
look
lost a
them up
few.
on, like Etsy or Pinterest or eBay, and you might be surprised how much you buy, if you have the original box.
Yeah.
I don't know what
I'm
they're
not
putting
getting
ornaments, but I just brought the box to show you what the shiny bright box looks like. And
We
here's,
always wrapped them in
I call these the
tissue,
ones with
put them in
seams.
egg cotton.
All of them have a,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got a bunch of them. We still have them.
So where do they say USA on it? Is it on the ball,
it's usually right here, no, on the. this
on the
part.
top,
Yeah.
on the top part? Okay, I'll know where to look.
And Penny Bright made some of them.
Don't drop it.
The era, sometimes they have a wider
Yeah,
thing up
I
here,
know.
bigger, sometimes smaller. But I'll send these, just don't take them out of my box.
Empty boxes, yeah. Little.
What happened to that little mouse?
Mouse, what?
The little mouse?
It went that way.
I didn't get the.
There's one.
That's more like a rat.
That's a rat.
There was another little, no, that was a, monkey. Oh, that monkey's face was gorgeous.
Now these, I know, I've seen these sell for like, it's one of them sells for like $20.
No, I don't do snakes.
Oh, I got 2 of them in my yard over there.
I don't.
We took care of the rats.
Oh, yeah, those are good.
It's like, I had some with birds, but I knew lady that like birds, and I gave them to her. and
Oh, I
I
know, but
got
I
them.
know, sometimes I hang it with that.
I don't really like him, but then when you live out in the country,
These are some of the older ones like this.
rats, they used to get big.
You would catch George.
Yeah, we used to have all these when we were kids. I still have
Because
some.
I want those birthday parties too, okay, because I was gonna be in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure about this color, I couldn't see any right on it, it's got the metal top, so it's over.
into my bedroom. I thought, wait, but where
And then with that, this.
Oh, yeah. The indenture.
Mm-hmm.
You have some of those in that?
All that, all the old balls and everything.
They're still in my mom's basement. I should tell my brother.
You could also just claim in the.
Oh, and sometimes you buy them, and people would buy them and then they put their own little Christmas thing on it. I think this one was 1964, yeah, 1964.
That was a good thing.
What's that?
Nice crawl
Oh.
up the brick. Crawl up the brick back in there.
Somewhere I missed one that had the real old, oh, here it is.
At night.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I did.
Oh,
She called
sorry,
it
George.
exterminator.
Heart attack.
Give you- oh, no.
They had to pull down a ladder.
These are some of the really older ones, these are really hard to find. Like this, and, grapes, here's a pine cone,
you come back down that alley.
A bell.
This lady had this killer rope, had this real, you got them step on the rope.
Very Art
Rosemary's
Deco.
having heart attacks. And then here's just another one with the seams, you get the idea. But I don't know if these are pennyworth, but they say USA, so, you know, it could be something else.
1969.
This is how the color wants to.
I had a big dog.
Okay,
My husband at the time came home from work.
that is it, except for
And his tail collars.
Pam wanted to talk about a couple traditions that are in South Texas. And one of them is called the Las Posadas, say it right for me, the N's,
Fantastic.
Diana, is that right, Las Posadas?
Los Posadas.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a religious festival celebrating Mexico, and also in South Texas, and I know they did because your in-laws used to do it on Downey Street, and so I know we went one time, and Oscar was passing out tamales. And
Yeah.
Yes, yes, I remember that.
Yeah,
But it's kind of died off somewhat, hasn't it?
she passed it. It
It's
died.
between 16th and 24th. It commemorates the journey that Joseph and Mary made from Nazareth to Bethlehem in search of a safe refuge where Mary could give birth to baby Jesus. When they were unable to find lodging in Bethlehem, Joseph and Mary were forced to seek shelter in a stable. So it's celebrated in cities and towns around Mexico, sometimes in South Texas. Each evening during the festival, a small child dressed as an angel leads a procession through the streets of the town. Procession is primarily made up of children dressed in silver and gold robes, carrying lit candles and images of Mary and Joseph riding a donkey. Adults, including musicians, follow the procession, which visits selected homes and asks for lodging for Joseph and Mary. Traditionally, the procession is always refused the lodging, though the hosts often provide refreshments. At each stop, passages of the scripture are read and Christmas carols are sung. A mass is held each day of that procession. It's the 16th and 24th. Sometimes they do the pinatas also. And they form a star, which is said to have guided the three wise men of biblical tradition to new born Jesus. And the other one, you guys probably know more about this than me.
I never knew anything about that. All I knew is we got hot chocolate and tamales.
Well, you didn't have Oscar tell you. Oscar stood there because my
I
mother,
remember.
my mother, she had to know everything about everything. Kind of like Pam, she wanted to know everything that was going on with the tradition, the sign. I remember when we were kids, Dad would tell Jenny or I or my brother George, get your mother looking this way because if she saw a historical marker, didn't matter if it said historical marker 10 miles, we had to get off the road and go. So we tried to avoid all that. But anyway, I'm sure she pressed Oscar for the whole tradition it was about. And the last thing we talk about, of course, is our favorite, which tamales, which are some back there for you to try. And you know, normally they're red pork filling, usually the head they use, but not always. And they're part of an ancestral DNA for people. They've been around much longer than tortillas. The origin of the tamales can be traced way back to the pre-Columbian indigenous people of Mesoamerica. A mural in the Guatemalan temple dating back to 200 BC depicts what are thought to be tamales. And it's kind of like a sacred, you know, it's a tradition and everything. Cuisine all over the world would not be without the event of conquest. It brings families together on holidays and connects them to their ancestral roots. In terms of identity and cultural pride, tamales are a key piece for a lot of. Now, y'all tell me the difference between a Chicano and Mexican. Anybody know? It says it's more important to Chicanos than Mexicans, so I'm thinking that must be like Tex-Mex, Chicanos, I'm not sure. They even used to, back in the old days, they even used some kind of fungus to fill the, they'd use squash and, you know, some kind of fungus, but it said it started infecting their gastrointestinal system, so they switched to pork. Look at the mushrooms as a fungus.
Gotta watch which mushrooms you pick.
And in South Texas, even today, and Diana, maybe you tell us more about that, But they have it, it's called tamaladas, how do you say that, tamaladas?
You know what?
It's where the families get
Oh,
together and
yes,
make the
yes, yes,
tamales.
yes, yeah.
And I know her mother and Christina, Benavides, and I don't know if her daughters or who all would,
Yeah, see what?
well, they would get together and make like 100 or 150 dozen, and then they would give them out, you know, to all their family and friends for Christmas.
No,
So,
tamales,
anyway,
I thought you.
No, they get
Pat, I
together.
think you have
That's what
something
they
to
call
say.
it.
Thank you for coming. I wanted to show you one thing. This is from the Fulton Mansion. They have a gift shop over there in the education center. And I found this, and I have a real weakness, not quite what Maureen has, but for Christmas ornaments. And I try to let myself now only get about one a year. But I have some Christopher Radko, and they are quite pricey. These are called Old World Christmas, and they are absolutely fabulous. And they are much more reasonable. I think this one was like $15. But just